less than 12 years. For children, it was less than 6 years. And so there was a constant need to feed this beast with laborers. And one of the sad legacies of the missions of California is that when people go to them today, they don't even think about Indians. They say the Padres built the missions. That's nonsense. The California Indians built the missions.
At the Santa Barbara mission alone, over 4,000 Chumash names filled the burial registry. Their bodies discarded in large pits near the church. In 1821, control of California transferred to Mexico after it gained its independence from Spain. The Mexican government secularized the missions. Indian people were free to leave. But 50 years had completely transformed their world. Old villages were gone. In their places were large Mexican estates. Even the mission lands they had worked and lived on became parts of vast private ranches.
To stand by and watch these men take over the missions which we have built, the herds we have tended, to be exposed incessantly together with our families to the worst possible treatment and even death itself, is a tragedy. Mission San Luis Rey, neophyte.
Homeless and left with few choices for survival, mission Indians were forced to exchange one master for another, becoming peasant workers on the rancherias.
Many of the rich men of the country had from 20 to 60 Indian servants whom they dressed and fed. Our friendly Indians tilled our soil, pastured our cattle, cut our lumber, built our houses, made tiles for our homes, ground our grain, slaughtered our cattle, dressed their hides for market. While the Indian women made excellent servants, took good care of our children, made every one of our meals. Salvador Vallejo, Mexican landowner.
In 1848, after the Mexican-American War, California passed from Mexican to American hands. Soon after, gold was discovered in the north, bringing a rush of miners onto the lands of interior nations who had been out of the reach of coastal missions and Mexican ranches.
The majority of tribes are kept in constant fear on account of the indiscriminate and inhuman massacre of their people. They have become alarmed by the increased flood of immigration, much spread over their country. It is just incomprehensible to them. Adam Johnson, Indian agent.
Miners came into Indian communities looking for women. Vigilante parties opened fire on men, women, and children, wiping out entire villages. It was open season on Indian people, derisively referred to as diggers.
The Humboldt Times, Eureka, April 11. Headline, Good Haul of Diggers. 1 white man killed, 38 bucks killed, 40 squaws and children taken.
January 17th, headline, Good Haul of Diggers. Band exterminated.
In the 1850s, while the American nation was on the verge of civil war over the issue of slavery, demand for agricultural labor in California was so high that the state legislature passed an act legalizing Indian slavery.
A company of United States troops, attended by a considerable volunteer force, has been pursuing the poor creatures from one retreat to another. The kidnappers follow at the heels of the soldiers to seize the children when their parents are murdered and sell them to the best advantage. W.P. Dole, Indian agent.
Only 30,000 native Californians survived the gold rush. 10% of what had been the most densely populated Indian area north of Mexico.
Upon my last visit to Ventura, I saw the last of the Ventura Indians. They were living in a tiny hut east of the mouth of the river. One of the old men told me they were very glad that I was not ashamed to talk the Indian language. They told me to continue in the use of it and keep the beliefs. If I did so, I would live a long time. Fernando Librado, Shumash.
Fernando Librado lived to be 111 years old.
I once went over to Dona Siana's house. I wanted to learn the swordfish dance. After the meal, I asked her to teach me the old dances, saying, "For you are the only ones left who know the old dances." Dona Siana began to cry, and I left saying nothing more.